Hello, my name is Carla Bisong. We are here at Bisong Art Gallery located downtown Houston, Texas, and we are speaking with member artist Olesya Korsakoff, and we just would like to know a little bit more about your art and your thoughts. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your creative process?
I was born in Russia, Moscow, and I lived there till I was about 12. As a child, I was raised on fairy tales with magic and creatures and monsters and witches, and the stories always had a moral, so I think that really strongly influenced my art. A lot of my imagery is a little dark, as you can say. I like to draw things that have very strong lines that like lines that look like either long nails, the intricate designs on the clothing, very kind of swirly lines that could be reminiscent of fire or vines or organic materials. And I like to do art that kind of looks scary and unapproachable at first, but it's beautiful at the same time, and it talks about a moral or includes some sort of a societal critique that after thinking about the piece, one might want to think about their actions or their life choices.
Great. Tell us a little bit more of what you are trying to communicate in your art, specifically the painting we have here.
This particular painting, the sketch for it was done on a small page about this big of my Spanish history notes. A lot of my paintings are inspired while I'm doing something else, either listening to music, listening to a lecture, reading a book, watching a movie. And I've actually amassed a little stack of sketches that I have on, napkins and cardboard and whatever I find nearby when I get inspired. And I collect them in a box, and when I'm ready to paint, I go through my stack of sketches and pick one to make big in color. So this one I verbatim just blew up from a little drawing I had on a piece of notebook paper. And this piece, I was in a lecture talking about the Baroque period in Spain, how the monarchy was very corrupt, how the people were losing hope. There's some notes about, the corruption of the church, the popularity of the idea of the apocalypse at the time. And up top, you can see the Latin breakdown of the word apocalypse, and below it are some historical bullet points about the time period in Spanish. And the reason I picked that particular image for this era is that to represent the decadence of the monarchy, it's kind of like a Marie Antoinette image. So from far away, one might see a beautiful, thin woman in a fancy dress. But if you observe it more closely, you can see that her skin tone is very kind of dead, dark, that her bones are very kind of contorted. So that personifies her inner, I guess, spoiled, rotten kind of idea that not necessarily people or things that are beautiful from the outside are good on the inside.
What is your greatest challenge and reward?
As an artist, my greatest challenge has been to find venues that are willing to accept to show or sell my work. A lot of people have described actually my art as evil or scary or gross or depressing, and that's not the purpose with which I make my images. It might look like that on a first look, but if somebody were to stop and listen or look at it or think about it, it's a criticism on something negative in society or something negative about human character that actually draws one to the conclusion of something, drawing a good conclusion or something useful out of it. And I feel like, especially in Texas, in my experience, galleries and other venues that promote art are very reluctant to accept this kind of art, and there seems to be a demand, a commercial demand for art that elicits only positive or peaceful emotions. And I think that's strange, considering that other forms of art, such as movies or music, are popular in various different kinds of executions. There's horror movies that are popular, drama movies, sad songs, and that doesn't seem to carry over into the visual arts world. So the challenge is to get people to stop and look and listen and not just judge art basically on what they first perceive it to be. The greatest reward is that, I've tried to, in order to get more exposure, I tried to edit my art to do things that I would think would sell well, like doing celebrities like Marilyn Monroe, or painting Audrey Hepburn, or painting flowers, or a still life. And it's so natural to me, and I find that those kind of works that I see sell from other people don't sell for me, and the works that sell for me best are the ones that I did from the heart, that I felt very inspired to do. And some of the so-called creepiest or scariest works described by most people were actually purchased by some of the most nicest, wonderful, sweet people in the world that draw something good out of the art. I made a painting once of a very creepy-looking bald clown with claws, with a vice on his head that's turning it to make it tighter. And great majority of people who've seen that were perturbed by it. But the person who got it is one of the most positive, nicest human beings I've ever met, who adopts animals and whose goal in life is to have a positive impact on the world, and who practices healing techniques and would like to have a positive impact on the lives of others. So that makes me happy that the most unlikely people to want and appreciate my art actually like it.
And what have you learned from displaying your work to the public?
The most important lesson I learned is that it's important to, as an artist, to stay with doing work that I feel is right, that I feel is inspiring, that I think is important, and not try to change what you do to match what is popular at the time, or what the venues of selling work they have accessible at the time demand. Not, if you happen to live in an area where only abstract art sells, don't start doing abstract. Go find somewhere else that will sell what you think is good. For example, when I lived in San Antonio, folk art was pretty prevalent, and I got really close to incorporating, Hispanic folk art into my paintings, but that would just be a natural. And it just takes patience and time to find the right person and the right venue to promote your work. And until then, it's important to just stick with what you think is good.
Great. Well, we want to thank you, Olesya, for your time, and very interesting learning more about you. If you'd like to see more of Olesya's work, please visit Bisong Art Gallery in Houston, Texas, and we hope to see you soon.
Feeling lonely, isolated.